Hello and welcome to the This Are Johnny Domino podcast. Alternative title, How Not to Succeed at Music, where two brothers of a certain age talk about music that they recorded back in the pre-internet age of the 1990s. Music that nobody really took any notice of at the time.
My name is Steve.
And I'm the less socially adept Giles.
And if you are a returning listener, thank you for joining us for another episode of our rambling, esoteric, very, very niche podcast. If you are a returning listener, you might get the impression that this episode is slightly more slick than the ones you've heard previously.
You think?
But it might give a slight impression that we have rehearsed this one. And in a sense we have, because we had a slight technical issue when we recorded this episode before. We did the whole thing and it didn't record. I'm not saying it was my fault, but it was my fault. So we are, in a sense, going at this again. However, we have both also just woken up.
That's why we've got that kind of slightly creaky voice.
Yeah, so it might mitigate against any slickness or professionalism that you may be detecting in our delivery.
It could be good.
It could be good.
I'm just going to let people know that we didn't wake up next to each other.
Oh, no, we are in different cities.
Indeed.
It's not like the Morecambe and Wise show.
Exactly. The Morecambe and Wise show. Good reference.
Thank you.
Right. So, in each episode, we dig up 3 forgotten tracks that were recorded at home on an actual tape player, playing with our hands and singing with our mouths.
Yeah.
And we listen to these tracks and deconstruct what we did and reminisce and decide if at the end any of them are worthy of inclusion on a purely theoretical best of compilation tape.
Now, ordinarily, the songs that we've recorded were just myself and my brother Giles. But at some point in the mid to late 90s, we turned ourselves into an actual band with other people playing with us on a consecutive basis. Now, can you remember why we decided to do that?
No, I do remember we did. We became a gigging concern. I think we just wanted to be a proper band.
There was no sort of audience desire for well, there was no audience, and there was no desire for people to kind of see us.
No, there wasn't a demand. People weren't shouting out for it. But you know, we did it. I think partly it was because we had some friends and we thought it would be good to get people involved as well. Really,
yeah. Certainly, the first song, which I think you chose, is a song from the early days of ourselves as a gigging concern.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was. You're gonna hit when you hear this. You'll hear that it's not just me singing. There are 2 voices. There's Big Jim Convery on joint vocals here. I believe that Mark the Elk Elston is also playing guitar, and it's kind of like as I remember it, it's kind of it was a bit of a live favourite, really, but I have got some issues with it, and I think you have as well.
Well, we have previously discussed it, and yeah, I have got some big issues with it.
Yeah.
But as you'll hear, that is kind of par for the course with our recordings.
Indeed. I think we don't want to build it up too much. I think it's got some good stuff about it. It's got some serious drum machine going on there that I like. I quite like the kind of like unapologetic nature of the drum machine. It's kind of like full on. It's got energy. It's got energy. But you did tell me the other day that something that I didn't realise, but it's got a kind of you think it's a rip-off.
Yeah, I was going to... Look, shall I put it on? And you
think
can
we
just
should.
and you can tell me to stop at any point. Okay?
I will. We'll stop it when it gets too much.
Okay, let's feel that drum machine.
This is called Monkey Nuts. Stop it right there. Okay, so I know I'm hearing the drum machine. I'm liking that, but what possible musical reference were we thinking of there?
I was talking to somebody last night about this song, and it is consecutive with Song 2 by Blur.
Ah.
And if you think about the structure of that song, drums, single guitar, strummed ferociously, and then it gets very loud. And, it's the obvious loud, quiet, loud sort of thing.
Yeah, what's really funny is that I didn't think of that at the time.
Me neither.
It's massively obvious.
It's obvious. It's obvious. And I think one thing I said when we recorded previously, it's a kind of cut price carbon copy of a song that was a cut price carbon copy of people like Nirvana. So it's like a third generation ripoff of that kind of thing. And it is bizarre that I certainly didn't think of that at the time at all. It's very weird.
Indeed. It's kind of quite arsey as well. I mean, lyrically, we've got a bit of a beef here, and it's a bit of a diss track.
It is. But also, the thing is, I was thinking about this after we tried to record previously. We weren't playing with arseholes. We weren't doing gigs with people who were horrible. We were mostly doing gigs with people who we knew from going out in Derby and we liked. So why are we going, your band is classy but cheap and your intentions are deep? So shit, you're making me weep.
A bit harsh.
It's a bit harsh. And also, weirdly, when we did this song live, people liked it. And mostly the people in the audience were the bands that we were playing
with. The people in the other bands, because that's how it is, right? So we were like, yeah, we think you're rubbish. But, they were lapping it up. But we didn't really think they were rubbish. So got many contradictions, really.
It's a complicated song. When you think about it on a kind of a psychological level, it really is quite odd.
Indeed. And then we haven't even got to the chorus yet, right?
No.
Which is, I cannot even really excuse it in any way. This part of me wants to think, oh, we're just being cheeky. We're having a bit of a laugh. But I don't know. I think it's kind of a bit horrible, really.
I'm going to press play.
You're right. Your style is classy but cheap and your intentions are deep. So shit, you're making me weep. So shit, you're making me weep. Come and get your peanuts. They're just a bunch of monkeys. Come and get your peanuts. Life that is cheapest. Come and get your Come and get your
So, number one, I don't remember anyone having any peanuts. Number two, life at its cheapest. Life at its cheapest. So we're giving them peanuts as a payment.
I don't think we really need to get that deep into the lyrical.
And then ow, 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 ow. That's a monkey impression, right?
I don't think so. I think it's just like it's a rhythmical
device,
vocal interpolation. That's all. I think it
is. It's a good word.
Well, it's a Sunday morning. Let's go for it. Yeah. But the motivation is odd.
Yeah,
Because we were doing gigs with people who we liked.
I know.
And we might not necessarily have liked the music they were playing,
Yeah,
but there's no reason for it to go, you're shit.
I know. Yeah, okay. And just before you put it back on again, come and get your penis is what I'm hearing. Come and get your penis, right? And that just makes me think of Jim's gig jeans, which all I'm going to say is that they were chosen specifically to enhance his nether regions under the lights, as it were.
I think he would have a problem with you saying he chose his trousers specifically, and also the idea that his gig trousers were chosen. It's almost like we chose them.
I think he chose them. I think he was trying to intimidate the audience.
What, in a Spinal Tap sort of way?
Yeah, indeed. I think along with the aggressive vocal delivery, I think he was trying to intimidate them with this package of his jeans. Anyway, we'll carry on, and then we've got a little bit more to say about this one.
Yeah.
And when you're at the disco, it's going down the tree. You're like butter with a six-pack stomach, sex frustration and a hip hop beat. Come and get your peanuts. Oh, I bet it's cheapest. Come and get your peanuts. You're just a bunch of monkeys. Come and get your. Come and get It's been another strange day, another shot at the moon. You really hope it happens. You hope it happens soon. Oh, we could start a punk band. I wouldn't go that far. Me neither. Your band is classy but cheap and your attention is deep. So shit, you're making me weak. So shit, you're making me weak. Come and get your peanuts. You're just a bunch of monkeys. Come and get your peanuts. Oh, I bet it's cheapest. Come and get your. Come and get your. Just a bunch of monkeys. You're just a bunch of monkeys. Just a bunch of monkeys. Just a bunch of monkeys.
Beautiful.
I mean, the other thing that just occurred to me is I quite like monkeys.
Yeah, me too. Monkeys are great. So maybe it's a positive thing.
But we do sound like we've got a real problem with monkeys.
I don't think I ever had a problem with monkeys. Just a bunch of monkeys. I'd say ideally a bunch of monkeys. You know.
Yeah. So we didn't have a problem with monkeys or the people that we played live with.
No. But we
This song is
sounded
a-
like we did. We
This
sounded
song-
like we did.
This song is a lie.
It's a lie.
I mean, the other thing to say is at this time, as we were trying to be a live band, I was friends with the guys from Cable, Derby Underground Music Legends, and we used their rehearsal space, which was called the Bakery. And as we discussed previously, it stank and it was pretty gross.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been called the bakery. Really, it should have been called the really, really smelly small cupboard.
They actually had a nice rehearsal room. If you remember, we were on the ground floor, and they had a nice rehearsal space above, which is the one that they actually hired out professionally. And we never went in there. I always remember there was there was a band that had very intricate bass lines, and they always seemed to be rehearsing at the same time as us, and we could hear that through the floor. So we were in the dank and smelly room where basically cable stuff was always set up. So we had to kind of negotiate drum kits and huge amplifiers. And then there was the very clean and light and airy room upstairs, which we never went to.
I think, Steve, I think they were just making us rehearse in the room that they just stored their gear. I don't think it actually was a rehearsal space. I think it was just the cupboard that they stored their gear in. That's what I think, but that can be disproved at some point.
I think that is disproved actually, because there's a picture on the inner sleeve of their second album, When Animals Attack, which is a picture of them rehearsing in the room that we used.
I don't think they did. I think it's a lie. Anyway, this song, just finally, I think we've got to say about it, it was one that people actually really, really liked. It was one that kind of like when we played, it generally got a pretty good response. I can remember people jumping around to it, you know, and it was, you know, it was a proper live favorite. So, what did the wise and great Johnny Domino decide to do at this point?
It was a palpable smash, as you say, and us being us, we decided to stop playing it.
There you go.
That's the story of Johnny Domino in one song.
Yes. We decided to stop playing it because people liked it too much.
They liked it too much.
So there you go. Listen to this instead. Yeah, there you go. That's how not to succeed at music. There you go.
That's it. That's the end of the podcast.
I think so. I think we need to move on to something else. Please share with us your choice for today.
Okay, so my choice for today is one of my favourite songs that we recorded. On this track, we were playing with a friend of ours called Albert, and I always love playing with Albert. Now, the thing I like about this song is because it says something else about our 4-track recordings. Now, I would write the music for a lot of the songs that we're doing and record a session, which is very sort of like a grand way of saying our mum was out and dad was out, and we were fighting around. I said, "Oh, do you want to come around and do some music?" And I had this song that I thought was a heartbreaker. It was like a fast country classic, a very stridently strummed acoustic guitar all the way through. You know, I thought they were quite moving chords. And I think of it now, they were terrible. It was a bit of a sort of an acoustic Buffalo Tom ripoff.
Okay.
And I thought that was the track. That was the song that was going to push us over the edge and maybe get 4 people to like us as opposed to just us. And when we recorded that, we did like a very good take of it. I don't think we did the vocals on that day. And then we were just farting around. And the next track just kind of appeared. And the thing I like about that is because that is something that happened quite a lot. I would have this grand idea of recording this song that was going to be a classic. And then from faffing about, we'd come up with something which this is actually one of my favourite songs we ever recorded.
Yeah. So this is not the country classic that you were writing. No. This is the one that you did 5 minutes when you'd finished the writing the country classic and you were just filling time.
No, this is us in the room. You know, the 3 of us just faffing about.
We just invented it.
And I seem to remember, I think at the time when we were playing it, I seem to remember quite resenting it.
Because it wasn't the one that you wrote with great care.
But then we actually finished this one on the day because there are 2 voices on this track. We've got yourself and Albert, and I think it's fair to say that the lyrics are somewhat inspired by the work of Roxette.
Indeed. I think we'll listen to this one the whole way through and then talk about it. So a bit of an earlier recording than Monkey Nuts.
Yeah.
But I do like the kind of lo-fi sound of that. I was getting into that there. I've not heard it for a long time, apart from last time when we recorded it.
Yeah. So,
But I haven't heard it for a long time. I like the drums. The drums came in and it was like Velvet Underground.
beautiful work from you.
It was me.
It was you playing the drums, yeah. Because there's a bit where this is the doof doof bit, and then there's a bit where just before the last section you went doof doof doof, and on the recording you can almost hear us laughing.
Yeah,
because it was like it's like you've gone freestyle.
Indeed, I think I was. I think that was me. That was me doing a fill.
It's Art Blakey on the drums right there.
I was, and lyrically, I think it was an interesting one. I don't think I wrote all of the lyrics. Albert certainly wrote the French stuff anyway, and it's kind of like a precursor to his. Then he went on to a career as a professor in philosophy, I believe.
Yeah,
right.
I'd be wary of drawing a direct link.
I think there is a link. I think there's a link.
Yeah, I think he was already on the philosophy track.
I think this confirmed it.
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned when we previously tried to record this, I'm not amazingly convinced by his translation of your lyrics, but I'm happy to go along with it. Etre on etre pas the baby.
I think therefore I am the baby. Yes, the bit that gets me every time. Really,
it's a great song.
Well, it's definitely a good song. It's definitely a good song, and we never played it live. That's the crime.
Yeah, when it was just us recording ourselves, we never played any of them live. So
I know it would have been good, wouldn't it? I think that one would have gone across quite well. Really,
I think people would have liked it, and then obviously we'd have stopped playing it.
Yeah, probably. Okay, good. Oh, and what was the other thing? Oh, yeah, the line 50 quid a week to go without girls. That one made me laugh because if I had 50 quid a week to go without girls at that age, I would have been a very rich man.
We would have all have been incredibly rich. This is why we were in our bedrooms recording songs.
Yeah.
Because what else are we going to do?
So where the heck's that? I don't know where that line's from, but it's mad.
Well, I remember at the time, and I can't remember whether it was Neighbours or Home and Away. I think it was Neighbours. Yeah. There was a young character there, and he was a bit of a Jack the Lad. And somebody said to him, I will give you $50 if you can go for a week without getting off with a girl.
Yeah.
And I think you plucked it straight out of the ether.
I think so. I think it was probably a bit of a dream to the young Giles.
What, to get some money for
to get 50 quid a week for not having a girl? There you go. Yeah, to have that problem.
Well, yeah, that would have been real. Yeah, because we weren't working.
Yeah, that would have been real.
I think this was recorded. It was certainly recorded when I was at university.
Yeah,
in like a term break or something like that.
Yeah. It would have been quite good, actually, in terms of like a government scheme.
What, to keep down the spread of sexually transmitted diseases?
Yeah. I think we've got a final choice for today.
Yeah,
this is a weird one. This is a weird one. I've got a bit of a story about this one. This is a track called Flo and Wilf that I found when you gave me a load of stuff to listen to. Because there are. I don't want to worry people who are listening to this podcast, whoever they are, but there are quite a lot of songs that we recorded, and so this could go on a while.
We're going to talk about all of them,
probably. But this is the last one for today, and this is one that I had no idea what this title was, and I didn't have any recollection of it at all, really. So it was in the winter. Anyway, it was dark, right? And I was taking the dog for a walk one evening, and I was listening to some tracks on my phone, on my headphones. And I was in the middle of the park, and I was on my own. There was no one else in the park, and it was pitch black. And the wind was really blowing. So imagine yourself in a park, dear listener, and it's quite cold. The wind is blowing. The dog is running off in the distance. There's literally no one else around in the middle of an empty field. and you're listening to this on your headphones, and you're kind of getting into the fact that this is kind of a bit like, there's some nice feedback going on. There's a bit of a Sonic Youthy kind of vibe happening, right? And you're kind of getting into it, and I don't know. I don't think I had anything to do with recording this, but I don't remember it all. And then, out of nowhere, a disembodied voice comes up, and I realised that this voice is the voice of our paternal grandmother.
Yeah.
whispering in my ear. Well, not whispering, but talking in my ear. And it imagine that happening. And that was, it was quite a moment, to be honest.
I can imagine that was quite unnerving.
I did shit myself.
I can imagine that would be quite freaky. Now, you actually were sort of involved with the recording of this, because I did the guitar, and we should take a moment to thank our parents for their patience with us, and also our next door neighbours for just being quite happy to have us making a lot of noise in the room adjoining theirs.
Let's take that moment.
Let's do it, yes. Let's take a moment to thank them.
That'll do.
So I did 2 tracks of that, and then you put some keyboards that can only be described as burbling, and you did a track of like weird synth, and then you put our grandmother's voice on it, as you do.
I recorded it on a dictaphone. She's talking to us, Steve.
I know she is. It's freaky.
Hello. What are you doing?
You do have to say, although I am completely ripping off Sonic Youth,
It's good, isn't it?
it's quite good, isn't it? Had a lot of fun. There's obviously like a drumstick involved.
I mean, this is
Well,
his first
strings.
more solo album.
No, it's not quite as. I think is it more Lee Ronaldo? Who knows?
It's a Lee Ronaldo.
Lee Ronaldo is more of a hippie, you see. I think it's a bit. There's some nice feedback as well.
There's some great sounds in it, honestly. It sounded really good in the poll.
Until our dead grandmother popped up and scared the shit out of me.
It sounded so good. But, oh my God, you know, she was a bit of a character, wasn't she?
She was.
Should we say?
I think so, yeah.
She was.
But having said that, every time we do think about her now as a family, she makes us laugh.
She really does. She had the Woodward madness, didn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed listening to that.
Are you a convert to that?
I like it. I enjoyed listening to it this morning, maybe because it is a Sunday morning. But no, I do like it. It's such a paint. I mean, everything's a paint and rip off on this recording. You've got Blur on Monkey Nuts. You've got the Velvet Underground. I suppose you could say. Yeah. For Europop and Sonic Youth on that one.
Indeed, Sonic Youth. Yeah. All good references, all good things, though, right? Let's face it.
Put them all together. This are Johnny Domino.
This are Johnny Domino, right there. Okay, that's good. So we're at the point now, really, where we need to decide which one of those songs, which one of those pieces of music we're going to put onto our theoretical mixtape. I mean, I would say that definitely Monkey Nuts is kind of like the best recorded song, I suppose. Really, what do you think?
Right, it depends who you're making the compilation tape for.
No, we're not getting into that. We're not getting into that. We're not getting into that. We're just saying what it's for us, as always.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if it's the first week at college and you're trying to impress somebody with your music taste, you're going to put Flo and Wilf on there.
Yeah,
and
you want,
the last track on side one of the tape. But I personally think the whole arsiness of Monkey Nuts is such a put on, and it's so. Like I say, we weren't playing with people that we didn't like, or, we might not have liked their music, but they were perfectly nice people. So why would we be so arsy with them?
I know, yeah.
I don't like that about it.
You've hit the nail on the head there, Steve, because I think there's an aspect to it that's a bit of a pose, right? It's a bit of a persona.
Yeah.
Whereas I think probably Europop was actually like a genuine reflection of like who we were, really.
Yeah, I think so.
Which kind of makes it great even now listening to it,
Yeah, Europop is the winner.
Yeah, I think we're agreed. I mean, I like Flo and Wilf, and I would listen. I definitely listen to it again. But yeah, definitely Europop. I think, yeah.
Beautiful. We are agreed.
We're agreed. That's it for today. Thanks very much for listening. We really hope you enjoyed our podcast. We'll be back again at some point soon with more tales from the early 90s indie recorder sphere.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. That's what we're going to call it. I've made up a name for it. The early 90s indie recorder sphere.
Yeah. And if you are enjoying this podcast, if you think of somebody who may get something out of it, please share it with them and invite them to follow us or subscribe wherever you are listening to us right now.